Watch Hillary issues nasty demand to Congress. It seems Hillary Clinton still can't accept that Donald Trump won the 2016 general election fair and square. In an interview with CNN, Clinton complained about a number of things that, according to her recent memoir, What Happened, cost her the election. She went on to demand that Congress abolish the Electoral College and leave elections up to the popular vote. Now, why would she say that? In 2016, Clinton won the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes above what Donald Trump received. But unfortunately for Clinton, the elections have always been decided in the Electoral College, and she lost the election. Yeah, with all illegal votes. According to an article in Snopes, the Electoral College was established by the Founding Fathers so that the will of all states could be represented in the election of a president. Otherwise, the states that hold the highest population, such as California or New York, would determine the election, and the smaller states, such as Oklahoma, wouldn't matter. The Electoral College allows all states to have relatively equal say, making for a fair election. Yes, because then they would just not even bother with the smaller states. Not at all. So this gives them a voice. Clinton believes the Electoral College is an unfair and antiquated system. Of course she would, considering she had more total votes than Trump, but still lost. Yes, and if we do an election thing, if it's legal, illegals voted for her. Trump won by a landslide. Anyway, she believes the maneuver we've conducted elections for hundreds of years is what cost her the election. I think it needs to be eliminated. I'd like to see us move beyond it. Yes, the failed presidential candidate stated. She believes that the Electoral College that makes elections fair on the state level doesn't represent the will of the people. Excuse me? I believe that in a democracy we should respect the will of the people, and to me that means it's time to do away with the Electoral College and move to the popular election of our president. Of course, the United States is a republic, not a democracy. To Clinton and other critics of the Electoral College, the election should really be more of a popularity contest than a constitutionally constructed voting process, with candidates appealing to voters in large states like California and New York. Such an election would see these coastal urban areas having their needs represented and appealed to, while those living in the rural center of the U.S. would be utterly ignored. In addition to blaming the Electoral College, Clinton also placed the blame for her loss on a number of other factors, such as former FBI Director Comey reopening the private server investigation, Russian President Vladimir Putin meddling during the campaign, former candidate Senator Bernie Sanders failing to provide support, and a number of other reasons. According to Politico, she briefly takes some of the blame for her actions during the election in her book, saying, "I go back over my own shortcomings and the mistakes we made, mind you. I take responsibility for all of them." Yeah, that's why you said we. Hillary says the Electoral College did her wrong. Should we abolish it? Yet she quickly reiterates it wasn't really her fault. I wasn't just running against Donald Trump. I was up against the Russian intelligence apparatus, a misguided FBI director, and now the godforsaken Electoral College. Clinton's desire to abolish the Electoral College following the election is like a child wanting to change the rules to checkers after they lose. She knew going into the election that the victor would be determined by the Electoral College and not who had the most votes, considering her husband was elected president before and she has held political office herself. This shouldn't have been a surprise. In reality, Clinton is merely upset about her loss and looking to place the blame on anyone but herself. Abolishing the Electoral College would only ensure that more elections would swing in Democrats' favor because they typically have the highly populated liberal coastal areas already within their domain. It's time we move on, and Clinton, despite all her claims of unfair, should realize the rules won't change to make her feel better. Let's take a quick listen. I mean, it's unbelievable.
If I had been elected president under the same circumstances, so that, you know, I lost the popular vote, I squeaked through the Electoral College, and evidence came up that the Russians, for whatever reason, were trying to help me, I would have said on the first day in office, we're going to launch the most thorough investigation. No nation, particularly an adversary nation, can mess with our democracy. I would have had an independent commission. I would have done everything I could to get to the bottom of it, because it's not going to stop. This is a different kind of theft.
Do you think this is bigger than Watergate?
I think it's probably bigger than Watergate because it is about the future. We no longer are worried about, you know, spies and provocateurs with, you know, dressed in black with gloves breaking into an office and stealing information. They do it sitting in...
Yeah, we have you with your Antifa people calling them out to do
the
damage.
Offices of the Russian, you know, military intelligence and other related venues, and they get into what is the core of our life now through the computers.
When Comey said that he was reopening the investigation, you believe that is the day that effectively your campaign was over?
I believe, based on a lot of evidence and a lot of assessments by other good analysts, yes, that was the determinative day because it stopped my momentum. I think it's important to focus on what happened because lessons can be learned, but the more important lessons that will affect our democracy going forward are not about him.
She cares about democracy.
He, I think, forever changed history, but that's in the past. What's important is the fact that the Russians are still going at us.
In the book, you make no attempt to hide your displeasure about the Electoral College. And you say on page 386, you say the godforsaken Electoral College. Do you think the Electoral College should be abolished?
I said that in 2000, after what happened to the 2000 election with Al Gore. We've moved toward one person, one vote. That's how we select winners. Yeah. I was amused after the French elections when
That's why we let in all the illegal immigrants, promising them free stuff, right? So we get the vote.
I was listening to an interview with a French electoral expert, and he said, well, unlike your country, the person who wins the most votes wins. So I think it needs to be eliminated. I'd like to see us move beyond it, yes.
You also have a lot of people since then, since Inauguration Day in the last 8 months, coming up.
That's why they were threatening the Electoral College when they wanted the Electoral College to change their vote. I mean, this woman, you know, Trump was right. You have to admire her for one thing. She never gives up.
Up to you, women coming up to you with their daughters and saying, my daughter didn't go out to vote, and sort of wanting absolution from them.
Right. That happened to me. What's more common are people bursting into tears.
Do you give absolution?
Yeah, she cares.
I don't. Look, when it first started happening, it was so soon after the election, and the election was so bizarre and close.
Really?
It was hard for me to, you know, comfort somebody who was coming to me and saying, oh, I wish I'd done more, or I'm sorry I didn't vote. Because I think this was one of the most consequential elections that, you know, we have faced in a long time. You know, I just hope people will take what happened this time seriously and be ready and willing to vote the next time.
Oh, we will. Oh, we will be ready to vote the next time. We're going to make sure that we're voting Republican and we're getting you guys out because your corruption ran deep and it's time for it to end. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.